Okay. So I'm sure all of us have that one set of grandparents that we don't really want to go see because we just don't want to go see them because they never talk to you, do anything with you, or whatever. Well, that's what happened to Kendra and Seth. Their other set of grandparents that they usually hang out with or whatever, they died in a gas leak accident in their trailer home, and so they had written a will that if they ever died, that all of their kids go on a cruise for like 6 weeks. So yeah. Kendra and Seth had to go to Grandma and Grandpa Sorensen's. They really didn't want to go see him because I guess Grandpa Sorensen was very secluded and just didn't have much to do with them. But when they went to see him, they were expecting strict and chores and boredom. Well, that's what it was at first. They had to stay up in the very top of the house, the attic, and yeah, so they had to stay up there, and there was only a couple rules. They couldn't go in the woods, and they couldn't go in the barn. And soon to find, if you have rules like that, you're going to break them, obviously. Seth, which is the mischievous brother in the story, wanders into the woods and meets a witch, and from then on it's kind of hectic. But soon to find out, their grandpa lives on a fairy preserve, and it's called Fablehaven, and that's my book. It's called Fablehaven, and it's by, man, it's not on here, something Mole, I think. Okay, it's called Fablehaven. It is a series. This is book 1. And so, it's by Brandon Mole. Okay, so when they found out that it's a fairy preserve called Fablehaven, they also found out that the reason they couldn't go in the barn was because there was a humongous cow in there. And the cow, the milk that he gave off, or she gave off, was magic milk, that if you drink it, you could see all the fairies on the preserve. If you didn't drink it, you couldn't see it, and it wore off within a day. So Kendra drank the milk because she was curious, and then she saw fairies. So, yeah, and there's all kinds of creatures on here in this book, and so, yeah. And my excerpt. This is kind of the start of the story, and it just kind of, pushes it. It's a start. Yeah. Okay. Kendra stared out the side window of the SUV, watching foliage blur past. When the flurry of motion became too much, she looked up ahead and fixed her gaze on a particular tree. Following it as it slowly approached, streaked past, and then gradually receded behind her. Was life like that? You could look ahead to the future or back at the past, but the present moved too quickly to absorb? Maybe sometimes, not today. Today they were driving along an endless 2-lane highway through the forested hills of Connecticut. "Why didn't you tell us Grandpa Sorensen lived in India?" Seth complained. Her brother was 11 and heading into 6th grade. He had grown weary of his handheld video game, evidence that they were on a truly epic drive. Mom twisted to face the back seat. "It won't be much longer. Enjoy the scenery." "I'm hungry," Seth said. Mom started rummaging through a grocery bag full of snack food. "Peanut butter and crackers?" Seth reached forward for the crackers. Dad, driving, asked for some almond roca. Last Christmas he had decided that almond roca was his favorite candy and that he should have some on hand all year long. Nearly 6 months later, he was still honoring his resolution. "Do you want anything, Kendra?" "I'm fine." Kendra returned her attention to the frantic parade of trees. Her parents were leaving on a 17-day Scandinavian cruise with all the aunts and uncles on her mother's side. They were all going for free, not because they'd won a contest. They were going on a cruise because Kendra's grandparents had asphyxiated. And that's another word for passed away. Yeah, so I recommend this book to anybody who likes mysteries, suspense, and it's also very like fantasy, fairy world. It's obviously not real. It's so yeah, I recommend this to anybody. It is a really good book, and it's a good read. And I haven't read the whole series yet, but this one was good. So